tea. Oh man, I've been looking forward to that all day, all day. So I'm fully primed with my pens here. All right, so today I'm going to answer some of your questions. Okay, so I'm going to answer some of your questions. So just let me put this blue pen back there. All right, it's good to see you all. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my live broadcast today. And I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can in, what's the time now? In the next 10, 15 minutes, okay? So bear with me. If I don't answer all your questions, I'm really sorry. But let me just start the timer because I've got to go out in a bit. But listen, thank you very much, as I said, for all your questions and all your interest of late. Please keep them coming. Just let me finish my tea. All right, here we go. Wow. Oh, it's amazing, man. And last thing, I'm a bit, you caught me on the hop here, so just let me get my my things here. When I say my things, I've got my my board rubber, and there we go. All right, I'm still here. I'm still here. There we go. I'm all set and ready to go. Sorry, I wasn't fully primed, but there's always something you forget when you're doing a live broadcast. Okay, so let me just have a look at. If you're wondering why I'm looking over here, I've got the computer screen here. I can see people's comments and questions because the camera's here and the kind of computer is there. All right, so Leon, is it? Okay, Leon wants to know why. Oh no, I haven't got my glasses on. Leon wants to know what is the legal certification for a septic tank. Very good question, Leon. Okay, so let me just explain. So there's two different types of septic tanks in the UK. Okay, there are domestic septic tanks and non-domestic septic tanks. Okay, so those are the two types of septic tanks in the UK. Now, a domestic septic tank has to comply with UK building regs and many other rules and regulations. Yep, okay, so in fact someone else is also asking the same question there. Yeah, okay, so domestic septic tanks have to comply with UK building regs and many other rules and regulations, okay? Such as, well, in fact, before I go on to such as, let me just deal with non-domestic septic tanks. Non-domestic septic tanks do not have to comply with UK building regs. Because there's no rules or regulations governing non-domestic septic tanks. All right, Katie. Yep, I'll answer that question for you in a minute. All right, so with a domestic septic tank, there are there's one basic certificate that all domestic septic tanks must have, and that's called the EN 12566-3 certificate. All right, you can see that on there, can't you? Yeah. If you're wondering why I'm looking there, as I said, I can't really see how much of the screen I'm taking up or whatever because it's on my computer screen now. I've kind of turned things around, but the point being is domestic septic tanks must have an EN, I've got that wrong, haven't I? An EN 12566-1 certificate, okay, a -1 certificate. And that basically means it's been made and designed and constructed to a certain standard that the Secretary of State has deemed, okay? And it must also come with a CE mark, Now, obviously, if we leave the EU, all this may change again, but I'm just telling you current legislation, stuff like that. So if you're buying a septic tank, ask the manufacturer if it has an EN 12566-1 certificate and it has a CE mark. If it hasn't got any of those, if it's only got one or the other, or it hasn't got any, then it will not comply with building regs, and building regs will not pass it. They'll not approve it. Okay. All the septic tanks that I sell at septictank.co.uk, all the domestic septic tanks I sell, all come with an EN 12566-1 certificate and a CE mark, okay? So non-domestic septic tanks, so they do not have to comply with UK building regs, okay? Because therefore, a domestic septic tank is basically a designated description of a domestic septic tank is a place that you or I call home, a place where we live with our family, a place we live 24/7. Doesn't matter if you're abroad 11 months of the year and come back to this UK for 1 month in that year. The point is that's your main point of residence. That's what we class by a domestic septic tank. Now, a non-domestic septic tank would be connected to something like a mobile home, a caravan, a campsite. It may be holiday lets, granny annex, stable blocks, stuff like that. Temporary situations where people workshops, stuff like that, where people actually, they work there during the day, they go to the loo, wash their hands, use the kitchen, then they go home. So that kind of scenario is called a non-domestic septic tank. So there's no certifications needed for that. There's no CE mark needed for that. But obviously, there are certain reasonable requirements regarding when you're installing any type of septic tank. And the first thing and the most important thing is, with either of these, they must be put in such a way that they do not pollute the countryside or the land into which you're putting it, or to any water courses, stuff like that. They must not pollute. Okay, so if they're put in responsibly and they're not a pollutant, they're not a danger to the public, the sewage isn't a danger to kids or families or animals or wildlife, then a non-domestic septic tank, as I say, can literally go anywhere and be put anywhere within reason. But that's just giving you an overall view and understanding of a domestic and a non-domestic septic tank. Now, let me show you this. Now, does that answer your question, Leon? Has that answered your question? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what about soakaways? Okay, that's a good question too. So what about soakaways? All right. Now, there's a lot of misinformation about septic tank soakaways. So let's just put pay to this. Okay, septic tank soakaways. All right, there you go, septic tank soakaways. So Leon's question and Jim's question, what are the legal requirements regarding septic tank soakaways? Okay, well, I'll try and kill two birds with one stone. Right, what I'm about to tell you may surprise you, may shock you, and because you've probably heard lots of different things, right? There's only two requirements in the whole of the UK. There's only two laws. There's only two laws for soakaways in the UK. All right, law number one, they do not pollute. All right, so like a septic tank, because the soakaway is the most important part, funnily enough, of the septic tank soakaway system, because all the number ones, all the number twos, all the debris, all the fat, the grease, and the sludge, they can go into a septic tank. And it's just a tank. But then the liquid leaves that tank and then makes its way into the soakaway. And so it's the soakaway that poses the greatest risk. All right, so any soakaway that is put in or installed, right, must, number one, the Secretary of State says it must not pollute the environment. So, as I said, it wouldn't go into a watercourse, and the raw sewage that comes out of a septic tank and into a soakaway, it must be distributed over X amount of coverage area, or before it reaches any watercourse. So let's say, for example, there was a watercourse, say 50 meters or 30 meters away from your soakaway. The government deemed that distance of soil basically enough measurement or distance, as it were, for the raw sewage to travel through and be treated naturally by the bacteria in the soil. Okay, so I'm going to cover that in another live broadcast, but basically the first law is that it mustn't pollute the surrounding countryside or any sensitive wildlife zone and stuff like that, you know. Okay, number two, it must drain, the sewage effluent must drain or soak away. If you wondered why I was pausing a bit on that last one, it's because I didn't want to cover touch on number two, but it must drain effectively. All right, so so they're one of the same. Okay, well, almost. Obviously, you know, you couldn't have a pipe going straight into a nature reserve or flipping a children's playground, something like that, obviously. But if there is this distance of 50 meters, 30 meters from your soakaway to the nearest watercourse or kids' playground or something like that, I'm just giving you random examples here. But the government, the Secretary of State, deems that that 50 meter distance or 30 meter, 15 meter, whatever it is sufficient enough to treat the effluent as it drains away through the soil. And the soil has to have an aerobic process, i.e. aerobic meaning oxygen, the bacteria in that distance, all the bacteria that live in that distance that the sewage travels down must be alive and must be able to break that sewage effluent down. So those are the two laws. That is the only two laws governing septic tank soakaways in the UK. Everything else, and this is where people get it wrong, right? I just want to show everything else is guidance. I cannot stress that enough. People ring me up saying, oh, you know, the building inspector's been around, or the government control man, or I've been on this website and they say that this soakaway is illegal or that soakaway. It's not true, right? It's not true. There's a BS standard, right, which governs the guidance. That's all it is. It's not a law. There's a difference between a law and a principle, okay? A law, you must not do this, right? Okay? The other is a guidance or serving suggestions. You may or may not put strawberries on your cornflakes, okay? Okay, so, you know, the law would be cornflakes must be made from whole grain wheat and they must be formed in such a way, and there must be X amount of cornflakes within, you know, a packet, all right? And they must, you know, be airtight. So there's certain laws governing the actual cornflake, but the guidance would be then, here's a serving suggestion. You may want to put berries on there. You may want to put raspberries on there. You may want to put strawberries on there. And that is the suggestion. That's guidance. That's guidelines, serving suggestion. All right. So everything else, right, is guidance. So the building, everything in building regs regarding soakaways is just guidance. The herringbone system, it's guidance, right? It's guidance. Using shingle or not to use shingle, all right? Yeah, in certain situations, that may be appropriate, it may be reasonable, and it may work better than not using shingle. So I'm not dissing what building regs are saying. So don't get me wrong there. I'm just saying they're not enforceable laws. Everyone's garden is totally unique. Everyone's garden is different. Every soakaway construction will be different than someone else's. Even if you live within 10 feet away from your neighbor, their soakaway system could be different to yours because they may have clay in their garden, you may have sand in yours. So there is no hard and fact rules regarding soakaways, right? It says it's against the law. The Secretary of State says it's against the law to tell people what soakaway products they may or may not use. It says it's against the law to enforce the guidance that we're giving you, right? So that is how it stands. So the Secretary of State says that they can use, and I quote, any, it would help if I could spell, wouldn't it, right? It would help if I could spell. So let me do that again. All right, the rules and regulations state that any products can be used, right, when creating a soakaway. Obviously, those products wouldn't, obviously, again, you have to use your powers of reasoning here. Obviously, you wouldn't use nappies, dig a hole and fill it full of nappies as your soakaway product. I mean, there is intelligence and reasoning based on this. I mean, but the point I'm making is there's lots of products that are made for land drainage, for building French drains, for helping water to soak away. And many of these products are like septic tank, soakaway crates. They are fully legal, all right? Fully legal. If someone says that they're illegal, get them to show you where in building regs it says they're illegal, because they're not illegal. They're fully legal, right? They may say, oh, look here, it says you should make a herringbone. No, it doesn't say you should make a herringbone system at all. It suggests that you could if you want to. So no building inspector can disapprove or deny you putting any soakaway products in as long as the soakaway is effective, draining away effectively, and it does not pollute. All right, so you can use soakaway crates, you can use easy drain like soakaway, you can use herringbone pipes, you can use clay pipes, you can, if you have to dig a soakaway pit because that's the only thing you can do and it drains away, that's fine. So the point I'm trying to make is the rules and regulations governing septic tank soakaways are quite clear. There's only two laws. The soakaway must drain away effectively and it mustn't pollute the environment. So forgive me if I sounded a bit passionate about that, but there's so much misinformation on the internet about this that it annoys me because people play on people's ignorance and they get them to buy their sewage treatment plants or their products because they said, oh, it's illegal. No, mate. Your septic tank's illegal. No, you can't use that soakaway. It's a load of rot and it's a load of rubbish. And that's why I do these live broadcasts, because I'm an independent sewage consultant and I just want to help people. If it's going to cost you, if you can use these kind of products and it costs you £1,000 to find a solution, then that is great compared to someone lying to you and getting you to spend 7,000 or 6,000 quid on a solution that you didn't need. And that's why I make these live videos. So, all right, I get really passionate about septic tanks and soakaways, so forgive me for that on my soapbox. So let me have a look now at another one here. Okay, let me just wipe this off. Looks like quite a lot of people are asking questions today, so let me just have a look here. All right, so where are we there? Okay, so I haven't got my glasses on, and the computer screen is quite a way away, so you'll have to forgive me for kind of squinting over this over here. All right. Septic tank ban. Is that true or not? Oh man, I've done so many videos about this, but look, I'll answer the question quickly. Look, on the 1st of Jan 2020, they're bringing something in called the septic tank ban, right? Or it's also known as the general binding rules. All right, now notice these. This is the legal term, the general binding rules, because they're binding. So let me just get this straight. The government are not, and I repeat, they are not banning every single septic tank in the UK. They're not doing that. However, any septic tanks or soakaways that are polluting the countryside, or they're not working properly, or they're working in such a way whereas they are a risk to health, those people will be made to decommission their septic tanks, and they'll be forced to stop using them until they replace them or repair them. That's it. Okay. Now, however, there are many other things that are coming into force, other points, which I don't really want to muddy the water today, but suffice to say, here's something that 99% of people do not know, right? You need, every septic tank owner, every sewage treatment plant owner needs a government compliance form. All right. Now, these forms are normally, hiya, Rosie. These government forms are normally 300 or 400 quid. Okay, but I'm giving them away for free, full stop. All right, there's no cons, there's no catch. The government compliance form is a form that you're supposed to print off from the government website, and it's got blanks on there, and it basically outlines and details what sewage system you've got, how often you maintain it, if it's ever been repaired. Is it electrical? Is it not electrical? Etc. etc. Now, when you've got one of these forms, you put one on display in your kitchen, one in your utility room, and you hand one to your solicitor. What happens is if you haven't got one, I'm just seeing if I've got one around here. Yeah, here we go. Let me just get one through here. I've got one there. This is what it looks like, something like that. Can you see that on the screen? Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, so it looks something like that, and you can see the blanks there. And you can go to septictank.co.uk and print off those forms for free, fill them in, put one on display in your kitchen, hand one to your solicitor. It will save you thousands and thousands of pounds and make your septic tank compliant. What would normally happen is if you came to sell your house and you haven't got one of these, the solicitor representing the people buying your house will say, what stuff have you got to show us, what septic tank you've got in? And most people run away and they'll pull out, I don't know, septic tank emptying receipts, and they'll say, okay, thanks, but we need something a bit more definite than that. You know, what state is your tank in? Oh, well, the tanker man said it was okay. I got him to check it a couple of years ago. Doesn't cut any ice for them. They'll repeat this information back to the people buying your house, and they'll say, okay, we like the house so much, even though we don't know what a septic tank is. Maybe they do. I'm just giving you an example. And they'll get 2 or 3 quotes for putting a new septic tank into the house that they want to buy. You know, they want to buy your house. I say I'm buying a house, I'll get 2 or 3 quotes of what it's going to cost me to put a new septic tank in case your septic tank that I'm buying the house off you, that's connected to the house I'm buying from you, is tired and warm. And they get 2 or 3 quotes, and they're normally in the range of anywhere from 7,000 to 13,000 quid. And so the solicitor will come back to you and he'll say, my client wants to still buy your property, but they're not sure what system you've got in or this condition of it. We've got some quotes, 7,000 to 13,000, knock it down 13,000, and they'll go ahead with the sale. And most people at that point will be like, oh God, I'm not flipping knocking my house price down. But then they'll soon find that everyone that's coming to buy their house will, you know, you'll hit that same obstacle, and they'll be like, even if they know what a septic tank is, they'll want to know that the septic tank is in good nick, it's in good condition, it's working fine. And unless you've got a government compliance form, it's very hard to prove that. But if you've got one of these, you hand it to their solicitor, right? He'll get it and he'll say, okay, you've got that system in. All right. And then he'll show that to the client buying a property, and that's it. They won't knock your house price down by 5, 10, 15 grand. So that's the point I'm trying to make. This government compliance form, it's free. Just go to septictank.co.uk. Let's have a point here. There you go. Go to septictank.co.uk. You can download one there for free. Download as many as you want. Give one to your solicitor. As I said, display one in your utility room when 1st of Jan comes, 2020. Job done. You saved yourself thousands of pounds and the government inspector will be happy. So again, is another free tip for you. Okay, so I'm going to answer one more question and then I'm going to go and get something to eat, get my tea. It's been a long day again. Okay, so let me just get that and get that. Okay, and get this. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Go, 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 go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so let me answer one more question. One more question. God, there's tons of questions on here. Okay, do I want to put a new tank in and replace my other one? Do I need permission? Yes or no? Do I need to apply for planning application? Yes or no? Okay, that's a very good question. What's your name? Your name is Thomas. All right, Thomas. So this is really simple. Let's say you've bought a property. Let's say you've just bought a property. Maybe you've owned a property. Maybe you've been living in it for 50 years. Maybe you've only been living in it for 5 minutes. But this is the point. And you can check this out on the government website, by the way. Any property or parcel of land. So let's say this is your land here. And there's a house here, or it could be in the middle, it could be anywhere on there, right? And let's say you've got it's connected to a septic tank, soak away, whatever you want to call it, right? But this is the main point. If the septic tank that is on your land, it doesn't matter where it is on your land, if the septic tank on your land or a cesspit, doesn't matter what it's made from, doesn't matter the shape of it or the size of it or the color of it. The septic tank on your land, if it was installed before the 1st of Jan 2015, then you do not need planning permission. Or approval from anyone. That's what it says on the government website in big bold letters. If you bought a property or you're living in a property and you want to replace your old system, you want to move your system, you want to put a new one in, whatever, doesn't matter, soak away even. You do, if it was installed before the 1st of January 2015, you do not need planning, permission or approval. You can, it doesn't have to be, right, so let's say it was an old brick system and you want to put a plastic system in, it doesn't matter. Let's say it was there and you want to put it there, it doesn't matter. Let's say the soakaway was that long and you know you want to make it that long, it doesn't matter. Let's say the soakaway's there, but now you want to put it there, it doesn't matter. Let's say the soakaway look like fingers, but now you want to put it, you want to make the soakaway look like that, it doesn't matter. No one cares. If it was installed before 2015, you do not need planning permission and approval. Just get yourself another septic tank and soakaway and put it in where you want to, on your land, that is. So anything after that time, if it was installed after, if it was installed after the 1st of Jan 2015, then you need planning permission and building regs approval. Now, that's quite simple, isn't it? Yeah. But they've done that to cut all the red tape. So, you know, just making it easier for people to put septic tanks and soakaways in. So there you go. How are we doing? So let's have a look. Okay, so I've still got quite a few questions there that I haven't answered, but I'm sorry if I haven't been able to answer all your questions. I really wish I could answer all your questions. I love answering questions, but I've really got to go now. But look, if you want to see more videos like this, if you love my live broadcasts, then just go to YouTube and subscribe. Go to my site, facebook.com/Septic Tank Company, septictank.co.uk. Oh man, there's so many videos on there to help you. I do live broadcasts twice a day. You can go to septictank.co.uk. You can see all my products. You can ring me for free advice. Email me, sales@septictank.co.uk. So there's loads of ways to contact me, and you know, I'm always there at the end of an email or at the end of the phone or whatever, willing and ready to give you free advice and help. But if there's one thing you take from today, go and get yourself a free government compliance form, please. It'll take you 30 seconds, 20 seconds to do, and they're well worth it. I can't stress that. If there's one thing you're going to do, regardless of what you've heard about the septic tank ban or the general binding rules, go and get yourself a government compliance form from septictank.co.uk. Download it for free. It says in the top left hand side there, how to beat the septic tank ban. Click that. Done a little video and some information, but get yourself, please, a free government compliance form. But listen, you take care now. Have a great bank holiday weekend. We got tomorrow off as well, haven't we? But listen, have a great evening and take care.